UFC Fight Pass Invitational 4. It was a battle for the ages. In the final, we had Mr. Craig Jones versus Fleet Penna, a duel that was a bit long overdue. We had Hyson Rita in the heavyweight tournament, as well as myself, Nicky Rod, the black belt slayer. In the corner, we had J-Rod and Nicky Ryan yelling out those techniques exactly at the perfect time. We had Mr. Hyson Rita versus Fedor, a 10 Planet Cat, and pretty good battle. We had a little bit of transactions that happened on the feet, a bit of jiu-jitsu that was going on, but we had a couple things that went a bit haywire in the match. We had Mr. Fedor trying a flying Kadi Basami, which was clearly stated as illegal in the rules meeting prior to the match. In addition, the overtime was supposed to be 1 minute overtime for their match, and in fact it was 2 minutes overtime. So we had some rules that need to be adjusted or be more aware of as far as the judges and whatnot. So that was a bit of an issue, but overall pretty tough match. Hyson ended up losing via ride time in overtime, so Fedor was able to hang on a bit longer. Then after that was my opening match against Roberto Jimenez and Nicky Rod versus Roberto Jimenez, a rematch. We had a match a few years ago when I was maybe like a blue belt or something like that. So where a few years ago when we had our match, he ended up winning by decision, a very close decision. Could have went either way. But at the time I just didn't know much jiu-jitsu, and now I was able to win in a much better fashion. We saw as soon as our match started, I pulled guard and hit an ankle pick and wrestled up from a guard pulling position, something I'm not really known for. I'm the wrestler, I'm the top guy, but I come out and I'm working on different things, and I'm happy that I was able to display those different movements. So match opens up, me versus Roberto Jimenez, and I pull guard, I wrestle up, put him down to the back, and get to my body lock pass where I pass his guard pretty easily. And then I had the option, right? I pass the guard, I'm in side control. I have the option of go to mount, try to submit from there, or go to north-south. I tried to force north-south position, and Mr. Jimenez was able to kind of scramble out, make some space. So, I could have just stood there and held a dominant position for as long as I wanted to, but, I'm chasing the sub. So I tried to go north-south to chase a submission, and, Roberto scrambles out. And then we're back on the feet. Back on the feet, there's a couple different times where, due to the EBI rules, we had the get down rule. 60 minutes in, if there's no takedown while wrestling, you have the get down. Bottom guy starts butterflies and double underhooks, and top guy, well, the opposite of that. And we had a couple situations in the match in which we had to implement the get down rule. And ultimately, both times when I was up whether I was up or down, we ended up kind of on the feet. Towards the end of the match, we got into a few more scrambles where I was actually able to lock up a Darce, but was relatively shallow. And I remember while I locked up the Darce, I had like a situation where, I have the good positioning. His head's kind of slipping a little bit, but I do have a decent bite on the neck. And I had to make the option to either fully commit under and go for the sub, or to switch off to things like an ankle pick, or try to chase a different position. And ultimately, because I felt it was pretty loose, I tried to switch off towards the ankle pick, where I was able to off balance him, and we're back and scramble up to a neutral position. And then overtime comes. Coin toss goes. I get the choice, and I choose defense. So I defer pretty much. I say, yeah, I win the coin toss, but boom, defer. Mr. Roberto Jimenez, you're able to pick armbar or back attack. Mr. Jimenez shows the back. As soon as he gets on the back, I'm able to escape within like 4 to 5 seconds, something like that. And then I take his back, and I'm riding him. Unable to get the sub soon. I actually get a fully locked up rear naked choke, but it was over the jaw, and Roberto's head was turned in not the most favorable angle for the offensive guy. So, I had a bit of a weird angle, although I had the choke locked over the face, and my hooks were gone, right? They were gone because as I was chasing the choke, he's able to like get a foot to the mat, and then ultimately I just had to kind of chase the choke from there. But anyway, ended up not finishing the choke. I was able to hold him for close to a minute and finish, finished pretty much. He was able to escape from my rear naked choke. Anyway, next overtime comes. Roberto takes my back. I escape again in just a few seconds. I take his back and I ride him the whole entire round. And, you know, chasing the choke at the end. I think actually when on the final round of my offense in the EBI overtime against Roberto Jimenez, I had a fully locked rear naked choke. I'm applying the squeeze and time runs out. Similar to my match with Gordon Ryan, you know, where I get a rear naked choke, I'm applying pressure, and unfortunately, you know, time ran out as soon as this guy was going to tap. And so I beat Roberto Jimenez via ride time and a lot of ride time, right? It wasn't even close, wasn't closely contested at all. All right, second match. I'm watching on the TV. I noticed that Wagner Rocha heel hooks Felipe Andrew, right? I thought it was going to be a bit closer to that, but you know, Wagner got it done. He got the sub. So match versus Nicky Rod versus Wagner. There's two guys that are EBI medalists in an event, right? This is going to be a pretty tough match. Wagner's really well weathered. He's well known. He knows how to compete and go out there and get it, as do I. So match starts. I think I pulled to a knee, pull guard a little bit, and Wagner just kind of like tries to explode forward and ultimately Wagner doesn't even try to engage in my guard at all. You know, I'm not known for being a guard player, but when I pulled guard, Wagner seemed very intimidated and timid about applying forward pressure, in which he just like kind of forward plunged himself. He tried to give me like a headbutt on my chest, and you know, really without any purpose behind it other than like, I don't know, pretty pointless movement. Anyway, there's a few situations like that where I pull guard, Wagner kind of runs away, tries not to attack. Wagner, our whole match, didn't take one shot, as I took multiple shots. I even swept him from bottom position. Speaking of bottom position, again, me and Wagner, because there was not much jiu-jitsu going on, there was a lot of wrestling, there was a get down rule implemented. So I'm on the get down, I get bottom position, double butterflies, double underhooks, and Wagner's on top of me. Whistle blows. I'm able to elevate using my lower body, and reactively, I grab a wrist, grab an armpit, and start arm dragging. I use that arm drag, wait for Mr. Wagner to react by pulling away, and as he pulls away, I'm able to wrestle up and get on top of him. So one of my first sweeps from competition, you know, I only have a handful of sweeps because I'm not really a bottom guy, but even against a world-class grappler like Wagner Rocha, Nicky Rod is able to take bottom position and work up. So now we're seeing this new evolution where Nicky Rod can not only wrestle, but he can also do the jits. He can pull guard on bottom. So good to see a bit of evolution in there. And then overtime round comes as soon after I sweep Mr. Rocha to the bottom position. Overtime comes. Wagner takes my back. Again, I escape super fast within a blink of an eye, you could say. And then I go on offense. I take Wagner's back. I believe I ride for 60 seconds the first EBI overtime, just because I figure I'll accumulate time. I'll accumulate at least a minute before I go on the offense, and then you know I ride him for the whole first initial EBI round. Right, I escape fast. I ride him long. We switch. He takes, I believe he takes armbar on my back because he realizes the back attack is just not working for him. So he takes arm. I'm able to stack him from the defensive armbar position and pull my arm out pretty easily, and still in the same position. I go back in the offense, take his back. I ride him for like 25, 30 seconds, and then I start hand fighting and start attacking the choke, in which I was able to sink in a rear naked choke and get the finish against another world-class grappler, ADCC medalist. I was able to rear naked choke and strangle Wagner Rocha. So another good win, another notch on my purple belt, or my brown belt nowadays. And on to the finals, Nicky Rod versus Big Dan. Big Dan was able to submit his opponents pretty fast in the two matches leading up to the finals of the tournament. As I had much tougher bracket. Right, you look at Big Dan's bracket. He didn't have guys that have been to ADCC before. He didn't have world class grapplers. He had guys on the come up, which was cool. His bracket's relatively not as hard as my bracket. I have multiple ADCC competitors on my bracket. IBJJF black belt world champ Felipe Andrew. So three guys that are really world class grapplers on my side of the bracket. But nevertheless, finals versus Nicky Rod versus Big Dan. We shake. First of all, we walking out to the mat. Big Dan walks out first. I walk out first. Nicky Rod walks out first. Take the gear off, walk up on the mat, and I'm just standing there. I put my hands behind my back to show that I'm not a threat. Make them think let them think I'm weak and not as big, and maybe the mystique of the speed, athleticism, and adaptability of Nicky Rod. Let that be a deception. Maybe that's just a theory, right? So I'm there standing. Big Dan walks up on the mat, looks at me, and he starts to pace back and forth as I am standing still. I am prepared for battle. I can see Big Dan like kind of mushing his hands together, pacing, staring at me, trying to show confidence. But in fact, I know Dan is not a confident person. So, the fakeness of it was really understood by me. Soon before the match begins, they call Big Dan's name and his limited accolades. They say Nicky Rod's name and my great accolades, and we're making eye contact. And I give Big Dan a wink, and he squats down and he gives me a wink back. And I don't know, it's just a pretty funny moment. I got him to wink, and it's like, even something subtle like that, him winking back, is like I already got him to play my game, right? I'm starting this thing off before it even starts. We shake hands. I push him in the chest. He falls down immediately, almost as if he pulled guard. Just a push makes the big guy tumble. So I try. So he pulls guard. He tries to do like little sumegeshis and off balances, and ultimately is uber unsuccessful. I'm able to base out, in which I get my hands locked around the body. A couple minutes in, I'm able to use my patented Roddy lock passing system on even a bigger opponent. Somebody's got 50, 60 pounds on me, I can still use the Roddy lock system to pass their guard at will. And once I pass Big Dan's guard, I have the option again either to go to mounted position or chase something else. So immediately I try to jump towards north-south position to try to cause some kind of reaction chasing the sub. Big Dan creates space, because we all know if you're going for the sub, it's a good time for the guy to escape. So the more you try to submit, the less positional dominance you have, and vice versa. The more you try to control, the less you're going to submit the opponent. So you have to have a balance and understand your goals right then and there in that moment. So I'm chasing north-south, going for the submission. Big Dan kind of spazzes a little bit, gets away. I'm like, all right, no problem. I just get attacking again and get right back to the body lock pass. I pass the guard yet again. Again, he's 50 pounds bigger. I'm able to use the body lock passing system to pass the guard 2, 3, multiple times throughout our match. Overtime comes. I take defense. Big Dan chooses to take the arm, attack the arm in defense, offensively. So as Big Dan chooses the arm, I'm like, all right, go time. Whistle blows. I extend the arm, do like a forward roll, escaping in, again, like 4 to 5 seconds. Very, very fast, and very diminishing to my opponent's confidence, because, he's a big guy. He's taking this arm bar. It's all of his limbs on my one limb, and I'm still able to escape with record time. Nicky Rod takes offense now. I choose to take the back. And I'm like, all right, I got out so fast. Let me, instead of going for the sub immediately, let me try to accumulate time, right? Because I learn. Every time I compete, I learn and become more knowledgeable and more understanding of the rule set at hand. And I was favoring time because I favor the win, right? Of course, I want us to get the submission, but ultimately we want to win first. So first EBI overtime round, I choose to take the back, and I'm able to ride him at will. He's squirming and rolling and trying to hand fight one night, and I can just lock my body, trying to go and ride this big boy all day because of my dominant technique. Next round comes. Big Dan takes the back. Again, 50, 60, or 70 pound weight discrepancy, right? I'm giving up huge amount of size against this guy, and your boy's natty. Quite different. So I'm on my back. He takes armbar. I'm the one that extends the arm. I look to roll, get past the knee line, and Big Dan's trying to apply pressure to my arm in order to break the arm. He's really giving a valiant effort, but I have the understanding of the body. I'm much more inclined of the mechanics of the armbar, both offensively and defensively. So as I opt to extend my arm, I do a good job of rotating the wrist and moving my thumb downward, so I'm able to create this angle that relieves all of the pressure on my elbow. So I go from a position where I decide to extend. As I'm trying to come up, he tries to apply pressure, and I simply rotate my thumb downward to change the angle of the armbar, keeping me safe, ultimately giving me the ability to escape from even the deepest of arm bars. Then, as soon as I pull the arm out, I look at Big Dan and his big sad face, and I see how disturbed, how distraught he is and discouraged from this armbar escape. You know, anybody, I'm sure that he gets that full extension of an armbar, you know, he could probably break, but me, I'm too intelligent, too fast, and too athletic to let that go. I escape the armbar, I take the back. And before you know it, I'm applying the triangle, hand fighting, getting my choking arm across the face, and I'm able to secure, yet again, a rear naked choke, even against an opponent 50, 60, 70 pounds heavier than I. So Nicky Rod versus Big Dan. Nicky Rod comes out victorious via rear naked choke in overtime, and boom, get my hand raised, take my money home to B team. Now, match ends, and it's time for the interview. Walking on the mat is another UFC vet coming to chat to Nicky Rod about what just happened. He asked me, you know, how I was able to escape that armbar, and I just gave him a realistic opinion that there was absolutely no pressure and that people like the new wave grapplers can't handle the rod. The interview happens. Amongst the interview, I knew that it was my time to get what I want. I want a rematch against Mr. Gordon Ryan. So they give me the mic, and I tell him, all right, let's do this. We have this guy that, you know, the audience can see how impeccable Nicky Rod's physique is, right? He's got the biceps, the abdominals, the chest muscles, the wide back. It's very hard for people to understand just how unattainable Nicky Rod's physique seems. Nevertheless, Gordon Ryan constantly accuses Nicky Rod of doing steroids, even after he passed his steroid test. Shout out Derek from More Plates, More Dates. So on the mic, I challenge Gordon Ryan to a grappling match, 10-minute match, EBI overtime. But with stipulations, let's both pass USADA drug tests both before and after competition. I feel as if that's extremely fair. Even if Gordon doesn't pass the USADA drug test, I'll still compete against him. Just forfeit half your purse. Seems pretty fair, natural athlete versus an enhanced one. Mr. Craig Jones versus Felipe Pena, a match I was very excited for, very confident in Mr. Jones's ability to beat, you know, the pound for pound greatest grappler ever, Felipe Pena. Mr. Jones goes out there, and to my surprise, he wrestles against Mr. Pena. Previously known as a guard player, a leg locker, Mr. Jones shows great ability to hand fight, dominate in different wrestling positions. You even get to underhooks and hip-to-hip position against a well-known grappler like Mr. Pena. Ultimately, the match goes to overtime, where Craig Jones knows how to shine. Craig is able to escape from Mr. Pena's back attack and back control fairly quickly. And when it comes to offense, Mr. Jones is able to ride Felipe Pena as long as he wanted to. So to conclude the match, Mr. Jones beats Felipe Pena via EBI overtime ride time, and the B Team boys got it done. All right, guys, if you want to look to grapple more like Nicky Rod, be more technical, be more agile, and overall be more intelligent, check out all my instructionals, bjjfanatics.com. You can type me up, Nick Rodriguez. I have the Roddy locking system, the perfect grappling workout, get you swole, get you these biceps. EBI overtime rule set is coming to the instructional world, so keep an eye out. Buy our merch, bteamjiu-jitsu.com. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, enjoy the content. You can check out Simple Man Podcast. It's me, Damian Anderson, and Ethan. We interview some friends and really just mess around, but that's it. Buy the merch, subscribe, B Team Jiu-Jitsu, and have a nice day.